2. So we're back at it again. And this is like our 7th iteration of this show. I'm Champ Creed, you are?
Black Ash.
Welcome to Heart Attack at the Peepshow, where the topics may go around the world and back or across the galaxy and back, but where we are right now, we are at the end of Loki season 6. And boy, oh boy, we are going to get into it.
I thought it was cool.
I mean, we thought it was more than cool. Like first thing that happened was I texted you, I told you I was gonna get ready to watch it.
Yeah.
And you said, be prepared.
Yeah.
So I watched episode 5. It's like, okay, this is nice, this is cute, all right, cool. You know, revved up the engine, so let me see. So I went back, watched episode 6. Man, I had to put it on pause and take a break, come back and watch it. Just because, and then I had to rewind it just because when Jonathan Majors showed up as an iteration of Kang, Mortis, right?
Yes.
Showed up as a Mortis. Villains love their purple. And he did the purple justice. He did the purple justice.
Something to do with royalty or something.
Yeah, well, if, you know what? If I was going to be a villain or a hero or in between, I'd call myself Purple Justice because that would fit. And the performance was an A-level performance. But I got to tell you, man, like, this is the official kickoff, the official jumpstart of Phase 4. Loki is a god, right? And that's established early. And then they bring him down a couple of pegs once he's in the TVA.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, this doesn't work here. And then he has to go through an orientation as to why it doesn't work here. And then in the end, the guy that's really running the show says, oh wait, hey, listen, now that you know that none of that works here, I'm gonna give you a chance to work here.
Might as well.
Might as well. And that's why he wanted to talk it out with Sylvie, because it's like, wait a minute. Okay, so if we don't take this job, we're going to be even less than we were in the TVA. And that's what, when he went back, he was even less than, he had to start the lesson over.
And the messed up part is when I'm watching the episode, I'm like, if you're going to have Kang, he kind of has to die right here and there. So obviously that's what's going to happen. But like the way that they put it out there is like, yo, monsters are going to show up if you kill me right now. And like sitting there watching, you're like, I heard what he said. I think you just take over. I think that's the smartest choice.
Yeah. Because it's not even, it's the boogeyman in the closet. Right? You don't know how terrorizing that can be.
And he has to be one hell of a boogeyman too.
Yeah, and it's gonna be multiple closets. So it's like, look, I would have took the job. Sign me up. Let's go soon.
Obviously.
But it spoke to the point that Loki, the spiral that he's always caught in is he always unravels success for himself. He always unravels success. And here we are, thwarted by an alternative timeline version of himself that he fell in love with.
Do you think that's the end of that Loki right then and there? Because it said it's going to be a season 2, but I don't know what that means. Does that mean that Loki continues?
Sylvie?
No, not Sylvie.
Loki Loferson.
Yeah, Hiddleston.
Yeah, well, no, he's going to continue. My question is, so she's...
But is the show going to be about that Loki or another one?
No, I think it's going to be, because we don't know what film that comes after. I can't tell you.
We don't know what film this series comes before.
No,
really, all we know is that it happens immediately after the first Avengers.
Well, listen.
That's all we know.
Listen. Okay, so that happened immediately after the first Avengers. But remember what he said, when you're in the TVA, time moves differently.
Exactly.
So once he explains to, I can't think of it, Owen Wilson?
Yeah.
Mobius. Once he explains to Mobius and they get through that process, they're going to have to jump back into a certain point of time to which We've got what, Shang-Chi comes out next, or the Eternals? Is Shang-Chi?
Oh crap! I
Yeah.
think Shang-Chi's first.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, the Eternals,
So excited
then Spider-Man, right?
I believe so.
So what I gather is Shang-Chi is taking place.
You can easily Google it.
I'm gonna just go ahead and take the deductive leap here. Shang-Chi is happening right after the world is starting to heal, like what's going on
After
with the blip,
snap.
after the snap or the blip or whatever they call it on the show.
They call it the blip. Yeah.
The blip. That's around it. And then I think when the Eternals arrive, I think that's when Loki and everything with Sylvie sitting in the front of the end of time, whatever. I think that's going to jump in because then that's going to lead to Spider-Man, which will lead into Doctor Strange. But I do believe that wait, when does Ant-Man and Wasp come out?
I have no idea.
That's all right. Let's look that up. Because they have to jump back in at a certain amount, at a certain point. I don't think it's going to be with Shang-Chi though. Let's see, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And that...
I think I might have read a really old Shang-Chi
Quantumania. Well, that's 2023, bro.
Quantumania is 2023.
Yes, 2023.
Fuck. I hope to God I still care.
We will. We cared since 2009. But what they did in the beginning, they did a great job of building the world.
Yeah.
They built the world, and for them to be able to build the world so quickly and snap you into this frame of mind like, all right, this is bigger than what you know, is when they said the Infinity Gems were paperweights in that particular area. Like, that's it. Like, that, anything moving forward from that point, it's like, you're just in a new, you have to comprehend things. I saw one time, you know how, when you go to the park, you have guys playing speed chess, whatever, right? So you got to go through certain people to get to the grand master of that particular park, right? And that could take you a summer. It could take you summers.
Really?
You know, yeah. But let's just say, because the top guy's the top guy wherever you go, right? So let's say it took you several summers to get to the top guy there, right? And then all of a sudden, after you beat him, they take you to another park, and then there are 6 chess sets, 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and a clock, and somebody in front of you. And you guys are now playing chess on 6 different boards. And new realm, new world.
Yeah.
And they did that in one episode.
But they've basically been building, the MCU has more or less built up to that point. It would go on, we're going up, just gonna go sideways for a little bit, up, sideways for a little bit, and this is like the 3rd time they've done that. The 3rd time they've done it with TV, because I didn't hate Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I hated that I didn't understand how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was connecting to any of the MCU shit.
I ain't watching.
It was fine. It was fine. Yo, like the MCU tie-in is like, we're gonna say Captain America like every
make a reference.
Yeah, there's a reference here, there, whatever. And then like it took a while before you started seeing actual Marvel characters in the show, but they weren't characters from the MCU at all. So that bit was fun. Like the fact that they had the Ghost Rider that drives the car rather than rides the motorcycle.
Wait, what?
I think his name is like Robbie Reyes.
Wait, I thought it was Danny Ketch. Or Johnny Blaze.
No.
This is a new one.
Well, for as far as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are concerned, they had the other guy.
Oh, okay, all right.
But they had Deathlock in there, and that was cool.
Ah, yes, from the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. Half zombie, half humanoid cyborg or something like that, right?
Yeah. Basically a dollar store RoboCop.
Ah, okay.
Because that's exactly what that was.
Oh, man. So, okay, I mean, at this point, whoever's watching this, they're probably like, okay, we've seen it. We know what it is. Pardon the set dressing in the back. There's a lot of things going on. I think Jon Stewart's down the hall. And I'm like, not kidding, like literally Jon Stewart is down the hall.
I ignored it.
Yeah. But I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine, right? and he loosely follows things. He's more of a casual. He's not really into the fandom whole thing. And I said to him, like, you gotta watch this, you gotta check it out because this is next level. And he goes, well, like, how does it work? So I'm trying to explain to him the multiverse, the timelines, what have you. And he shot this back at me. He said, okay, so what you're saying to me is that Clyde Drexler, he couldn't beat Michael Jordan in 1992. So what he did was he found a time machine and he kept going back in time trying to find ways to defeat Michael Jordan. He realized that he couldn't beat Michael Jordan in this particular timeline, so he went in his time machine to an alternative timeline and figured a way to beat Michael Jordan. But what he did when he beat Michael Jordan in that timeline was he accidentally created LeBron Curry. And when I told you that, what was your response?
Like that's perfect. That is, because the one thing I don't understand is basketball, but I understood all of that.
Right.
And that I feel like that's the best way to describe this multiverse shit to anyone. I mean, I used to hate the what if comic books. I felt like the art style was always like way too like different. Like it was on the lower end of like the regular books. But I dug the idea of like, we're just gonna tell the story of like what would happen if the Punisher found the Venom suit. That is like my favorite one. That one is
I actually remember that one. I didn't read it, but I remember seeing it.
Like, you could have gone anywhere with it, and the fact that I think they really started to talk about the multiverse shit once they did it in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
And even then, I kind of thought it was just like, oh, this is just like a bullshit line.
No. Even before that, when Doctor Strange, I think they were on Titan, and he said, I found the 40 out of 40 million different outcomes. You know, there's only 3 or 2 in which we are victorious.
Yeah, true.
So that to me was the first mention of it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because that popped into my mind.
This opens up so much now, and I think I told you last night, they definitely got lucky. They got so lucky with all this shit. Because had all of the properties been there from the get-go, they would have gone forward with the X-Men just like they fucking did. The X-Men would have been the main team that we'd be focusing on anyway. Like the Avengers were low tier from the fucking get-go.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where I think they would have sat, if they even got introduced at all, because the X-Men universe is big enough that you don't even need to fuck around with half of the shit going on with the Avengers.
Right.
Like, there are mutants in the Avengers anyway.
Yeah.
So, but the way that they started with like, we're gonna give you Iron Man, and then from Iron Man, we're gonna give you the Incredible Hulk for the very third fucking time.
Oh.
And we're gonna introduce all of these other characters that you don't give a shit about. We're gonna make you give a shit. And then they got all their fucking toys back. And Marvel was always doing the fucking multiverse shit. So might as well fucking do it.
Yeah, if you want to.
And the fact that Marvel got there before DC is still fucking hilarious to me.
All right, listen, we're going to take a break and then we're going to come back and talk about DC because someone said something to me and you said something about DC where I think across the board, they might be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle creatively here. All right. So we'll take a break, we'll come back and we'll holler back at you. So now let's talk about how DC may have written themselves into a corner. Actually, your theory is better than mine, so I'll let you start.
Well, since the Snyder Cut basically fixed everyone's idea of what the Justice League movie was going to look like, Warner Brothers basically said, all right, cool guy, fuck out of here.
Right.
So he's hanging out over at Netflix. But if we're not going to see a continuation of that, and basically what DC has shown us is that Darkseid's it. That's all there is. It's like, where do we go from here? Why do I even care past this? Like, I still haven't seen like the best of what Lex Luthor can do.
Right.
I've seen Facebook Lex Luthor. I've not seen anything. I've not seen anything remotely close to like any of the villains I like. You just showed me like, well, here's Darkseid.
Right.
That's it. I didn't even get to see Darkseid. I got to see like a highlight of Darkseid and then Steppenwolf.
Yeah, he was halfway in the portal, halfway out.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He didn't even really arrive. And then now it's like, even if he does arrive, there's nothing that you've done to make me believe that the Justice League is in danger of losing.
Who gives a shit about Steppenwolf?
Right. Wrong villain.
But at the same time, like you see that, and then you look at what Marvel can do. They went all like they teased Thanos for years.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got it, was like, oh shit, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That you oversold it.
Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room?
And even now, like people are just snapping because that's
a
how
cultural
you get
moment.
Yeah,
it's
a cultural moment. And now that Jonathan Majors is Kang, and the way that he introduced himself, it kind of only gets better from here on. But with DC, what exactly am I doing? Like, there's a Suicide movie coming out, and there's going to be fucking Starro. That's awesome.
Right.
But still, Darkseid's supposed to be the guy, so why do I give a shit
So why
about
do I care?
Starro?
Yeah. And you know what? It's almost like I've been saying this, and actually I'm gonna, because people, they listen to the same thing. Van Lathan on his podcast, he said it, but I've been saying this for years as well. If you want things to be balanced and done the right way in the DC universe, bring in Lobo. You bring in Lobo because he has kicked Superman's ass from pillar to post for years, for decades, whatever the case may be. When you have someone that can kick the ass of the most powerful entity in your universe, what does that mean for Wonder Woman? What does it mean for Batman? What does it mean? This sets up the perfect way to transition and bring in Green Lantern again. Like you have to have another entity that is greater.
The weird shit with DC is the moment you have one of those like anti-hero characters, they do their absolute best to remind you, like, it's kind of a hero though. It's like all that dancing in the gray goes away because you want to sell toys and shit. You want to sell fucking Halloween outfits and whatever. Like, Deadpool's cool, but Deadpool's not exactly an anti-hero.
No, but look,
comedy
Thanos still sells merch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he didn't dance around.
No, not really, but Disney Marvel was smart enough to make him the focal point of the movie. He didn't have to be the hero. He just had to be the main reason you were watching.
Right. So is it safe to assume that all of phase 1, 2, and 3, it was all about Thanos then?
Yeah.
In his moment?
Well, for the most part, it was... The biggest issue was the fact that the villains were kind of weird. Like, all of the villains didn't exactly seem like a super huge problem when your team members are basically a god, the smartest, richest fucking engineer on the planet,
right,
and another fucking god, basically.
And a Russian spy.
Yeah.
With no superpowers.
With guns.
Yeah, she almost had to die because I don't see how she could do anything in this next, listen. What in the hell was the Scarlet Witch gonna do when you have Kang the Conqueror and the multiverse? Like, what can she do?
Scarlet Witch or Black Widow?
Excuse me, Black Widow, I'm sorry.
Absolutely fuck all.
Yeah, Black Widow, yeah. Scarlet Witch, she's gonna be a factor.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Black Widow, there's nothing, like, she had to go.
Yeah.
She had to go. And almost, I'm to the point where I think Clint might have to go as well.
Well, the Hawkeye series is coming out soon, so...
Swan Song? Or, better yet, okay, so if we go back to the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War comic books, right? There were multiple layers of conflict. You had the intergalactic conflict where Earth's mightiest heroes were up there battling Thanos in space.
Yeah.
And then you had the doppelgangers.
I remember that.
Yeah, you had the doppelgangers on Earth, to which you would be able to carry over a couple of issues of Spider-Man, a couple of issues of the Punisher, where they fought their doppelgangers. I think Wolverine fought his doppelganger. Same with Daredevil.
I think Spider-Man's doppelganger was literally called doppelganger.
Yeah, right. So I mean, you can use Disney Plus for that while you have all of this intergalactic timeline stuff going on, but that might be it, because once you start, like, even think about Hawkeye's MVP moment came in Endgame when he had to secure the gauntlet, right? And the Horde, they were chasing after him, whatever the case may be, and he did his thing, and then he had to bow out, right? But what can you do with Kang? What are you gonna do with Kang?
At the same time, he was barely a factor in the Thanos fight at all.
Right.
So that kind of doesn't even matter. Like, if you have the job, what are you really gonna do about it? You've got all these people on the bench in the fucking NBA All-Star game and shit. Most of these motherfuckers aren't gonna play, but they love the fact that they're there.
They're there, yeah. Right.
So that's how I see the reg humans of the Avengers and the MCU and all of that. Because at the end of the day, you know, they're trying to save people. Might as well have some regular humans there representing people.
Yeah, they gotta say. I say you delegate them to people duty.
I mean, because that's the messed up part about the DC universe and shit. Like, Superman's basically God.
Right.
Hanging out
with people.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, even see, there's levels to it. So take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Conor McGregor and where does the fight game go now. All right, we're back, and over the past few days, Conor McGregor snapped his leg, and his future's in doubt. I think we both know that he's going to come back. It's just
I don't
a matter
think
of
his future
when he
is
comes back.
in doubt.
I think his UFC future's in doubt.
All right.
Why come back and get that leg kicked over and over and over again? Why? When you could just when you could make more money fighting Manny Pacquiao and Jake Paul. Just finish it up. What you do, you come back, you fight Jake Paul for the comeback, you probably win that fight, and then your swan song is Manny Pacquiao. And if you win the Jake Paul fight, that puts you back up in the marquee level of being able to sell. And it's Ireland versus the Philippines on neutral territory.
He did everything right. Like, I don't know that there is another fighter that can replicate what he did. He basically, like, it sounds like an insult, but it's not. He talked his way into the highest part of the fucking UFC. The UFC fight game. Because not the fight game in total. The moment he introduced Mayweather into the conversation, that's when things started to get fun, but also weird.
Yeah.
Because one, like, there were too many people wanting it to be MMA versus boxing, and that doesn't work when they're only boxing.
Yeah, and that's out the window now. Like, that whole argument and conversation.
Yeah, it's two completely different sports, so why are we still having this dumb fucking conversation? But either way, his fans will always see that as a win, simply based on the fact that he walked out of there with like $130 million fucking dollars.
Right.
For half an hour of work.
And the scorecards. People always point to the scorecards.
Always.
And they say, what if? If he could have only. You know, that's a moral victory for his fans.
I can solve the what if mystery. He wouldn't have made it to the 12th.
Oh, no, he wasn't.
100% he was not going to make it to the 12th round. And two, what was he going to do after that? Was he going to challenge Canelo?
No.
Cotto?
No.
Anybody? Like, any reputable boxer you can fucking think of?
No,
that was never gonna fucking happen.
No.
He went after Mayweather because he knew Mayweather was gonna look at it as like as what it was. Fucking money grab. That's it. It's like, I can piece you up for half an hour, no problem.
Right.
We're gonna make millions. And that's exactly what happened. But to come back to the UFC like you're gonna just run through everybody when you have not been training like everybody else is. And I'm the last person in the world to be like yo, you don't train fucking police. But you're looking at all these motherfuckers just going from camp to camp, just like killing themselves for like so little money. And this dude's just running around fucking Europe and the United States with $130 million and the weirdest fucking whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, he had the lifestyle. He acquired the lifestyle that fighters in the UFC could only dream of due to the low fighter pay.
Yeah.
And it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And what you did was you turned yourself into bulletin board material. So what Conor did was he maximized every opportunity in the spectrum of UFC, went to boxing, got big, rich, fat, and happy, while other people were in the dungeon, slain away, sharp.
I don't count it as going into boxing. I don't.
I mean, he had a boxing match. How don't you count that?
Because then box with anybody else.
He's gonna box again, so he's 0-1. He might finish 1-2. It's still a boxing career.
Fair point.
Right.
Fair point. You got paid for it.
He got paid for it. He got paid more than other people that have fought for decades. He got in one night. Think of it, if you're little Leroy Jackson at the YMCA trying to box and have a career, and then here comes this guy out of nowhere, and then that's what made Nate's promo so perfect. Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I worked for, even though he really didn't, but he summed up, you know, the feeling of a lot of people, and that was just on the MMA side, but on the boxing side, same thing, and now we're in this weird realm where you have social media entities, you have retired boxers, you have MMA guys. It's a fucking smorgasbord of who can get the bigger bag.
People are fighting for their attention.
Right.
Because it was always my understanding, not so much always, I want to say as an adult, that like it's not about the money, it's about the time, how much time you can take from something. You take time from someone, they will basically give you fucking money for it.
Right. But it has to be captivating.
Exactly. And the notorious Conor McGregor was captivating from the moment you heard notorious.
Right.
When that leg snapped, bro, I'm just gonna be absolutely honest. I was on mushrooms. When that shit snapped, I was like, "Oh, that sucks, guy."
You think
that
it will?
sucks. Yes.
Listen. All right. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I thought it was over too, until Joe Rogan sat down next to him, and he said, "Your wife sent me DMs. See you at the after party, baby." Like, yo,
that shit
perfect bad guy
ass.
shit.
That
perfect heel shit.
I did not like or appreciate that shit because here's the thing.
He had to sell the next event. That's what he did.
But that's not selling the fight to me. The fact that your fucking foot just broke
he
off. He
sold it to the jabronis that's gonna fork over the money to see if he can come back and do it again.
Fair. Right.
You're an elevated viewer. Yeah. Most of these people that pay aren't. Look, when I saw that Conor McGregor went from a 40-1 underdog to a 2-1 underdog against the one of the greatest defensive boxers of all time, I said, you can sell these people to Brooklyn Bridge and charge Manhattan Bridge prices. Like, that's where we are.
All right. Fair. But what happens now? Here's the thing. They want very much the fourth fight to be the championship.
We're not going to get a fourth fight.
I don't think so either, because I don't know what's going to happen with the Dustin Poirier Charles Oliveira fight. I just know that fight's going to be dirty.
That's going to be a great fight.
That is going to be a great fucking fight, but people are going to get fucking hurt for real.
That's not going 5.
And I don't know who comes out of that one good, but if Dustin doesn't beat Charles, there's no way in the world I want to see a fourth fight.
No.
Because for what? I already know Dustin can beat him.
Right.
I don't need more proof of it. And for the most part, he can't stay with SBG. He's going to.
Do we get McGregor Diaz 3?
I'd rather see that.
I think that's what we get.
I'd rather see that.
That's
Shit, if you're gonna make fucking Robbie Lawler Nick Diaz 2,
right?
I'll watch Diaz Conor 3, but he's gotta be.
That's where we're at. That's what. So okay, wrapping it up. Here's what I see. If Conor McGregor comes back to the UFC, we get McGregor Diaz 3 because that's
not gonna get cut.
That fight, no, he's not gonna get cut. That fight has been sitting there for years. The third fight, so I think we get that, and we know Nate's not gonna throw any leg kicks. So we got that. Conversely, on the boxing side of things, we get Jake Paul, we get Manny Pacquiao, and I think those are his last 3 fights, and he calls it a
I don't even think the Jake Paul fight happens anymore.
Well, actually, you know what? I think Woodley's gonna knock Jake Paul out. And
what the fuck was up with that robot?
We'll do a show on that next.
Okay.
But I think Woodley takes out Jake Paul. Jake Paul talks himself back into another scenario where he gets another fight. Cream puff, pushover, tomato can, whatever, and he'll be ready for Conor.
Hold up. Before we do anything, the Rampage Shannon Briggs thing.
Let's save that for the next show.
Oh my God.
All right. So you just watched the new and improved Jon Stewart next door version of Heart Attack at the Peepshow. And no, the motherfuckers literally down the hall. So we'll see you on the next show, and we're gonna have a damn good time trying to piece this son of a bitch together. Dude. With the sound, the audio, the video, GoPro.
It'll be fine.
All right. Take it easy, be out of there.